There's no doubt that for most of us, these times have felt extreme and life-changing, leading to higher levels of stress and anxiety and the need for new ways to cope. My next guest lived as a monk for 3 years until one day he knew he had a higher calling and has since amassed over 35 million followers on social media and over 7 billion views, that's with a B, on YouTube, just by normalizing how we deal with stress and anxiety. Today, I welcome back life and purpose coach, #1 New York Times bestselling author, and my good friend Jay Shetty, who's here to share new ways we can all learn to cope better with the stress and anxiety we're facing and maybe find a little purpose on the way. Jay, God bless you for being here. What's the moment that, and I want you to start with this, that made you decide that the world needed help with stress and anxiety management?
Well, I'm so grateful to be here, Dr. Oz. Thank you so much for having me back. And for me, the moment was having learned all these incredible techniques, skills, and mindsets through my 3 years as a monk, and feeling that everyone that I grew up with, everyone that I knew back home in London could benefit from these ideas and these insights.
Part of the reason you're so popular, not just in my household, but around the world, is that you're very practical in your thoughts. So walk us through, for example, the 4 habits that you've argued can help anyone dealing with stress and anxiety so they can live like a monk.
So these 4 steps are to help you think like a monk without having to live like a monk. And they come in the form of an acronym called TIME, T-I-M-E. So the first habit is thankfulness. And thankfulness, the best way to practice it is not just to think it, not just to write it down, but to express it in a specific way and see how your life changes. The second habit is inspiration. So many of us wake up to our phones, 80% of us wake up to our phones and see it first thing in the morning and the last thing we see at night. Mm-hmm. And we're waking up to news, notifications, maybe noise and negativity. But what if we woke up to inspiration? Change what you see in the morning. The third step is meditation. Now, I know meditation can be difficult, challenging for many people. It can seem complex. The simplest way to start is schedule some time in your calendar for yourself, with yourself. Mm-hmm. Start there, 5 minutes at the beginning of the day, 5 minutes at the end of the day. And the fourth habit is exercise. We all know that moving and sweating is important, but it doesn't have to be a gym. It doesn't have to be the traditional workout. You can go and get your 10,000 steps. You can do a virtual dance party. Whatever gets you active is important to add to your daily routine.
Yeah, and it'll not just get you time, but get you energy to follow those 4 steps. You know, one thing I've noticed, Jay, and you've said this in many different ways, but I find it to be truer now than ever before, that we've got to spot the negative thoughts in our minds. Because for many of us, the most dangerous place we live is in our heads, right? So when you say, I'm not good enough, or I'm failing at everything, those pull you down. Why have you found that to be such an important driver of unhappiness?
Well, the studies show, Dr. Oz, that we have 60 to 80,000 thoughts per day. And when I read into the research that was being done, it shows that 80% of those thoughts are negative, but they're also repetitive. So I devised this 3-step method that I learned as a monk to help us combat those negative thoughts. And it's called spot, stop, swap. So the first thing you want to do is spot the thought. Spot the pattern. Notice, where does it come from? What are you doing? Is it when you're scrolling on your phone? Is it when you're surrounded by certain people or in a particular place? The next thing is to stop and reflect and ask yourself, is this thought helping me? Is this thought useful? Mm-hmm. And if the answer is no, you want to swap it with another thought. So this isn't just saying positive things to yourself. It's actually working through and working with the negative thought and transforming it into a healthy thought. So I like to think about healthy thoughts as opposed to just saying positive thoughts.
All right, when we come back, Jay's going to share the key to how anyone can find their purpose today. Stay with us. I'm back with Jay Shetty, purpose coach, podcast host. Everything he does goes viral. So he's got a lot of deep insights he wants to share with America. Now, we've been hearing a lot about something called the Great Resignation. Since the start of 2021, roughly 15 million Americans have reportedly left their jobs and their security in hopes of finding money, flexibility, happiness elsewhere. So, Jay, do you see this as a positive trend? These are people going after their purpose they believe and leaving corporate America and their other careers.
I think what we all know is positive is when we're all moving towards a more purposeful life. So whether your purpose is to have more time and energy, whether it's to improve your well-being or connect more with your loved ones, purpose is a wonderful thing to move closer to and align with. But here's the thing, purpose can be found inside a company and outside a company. You don't have to be an entrepreneur to find your purpose. So a great way to think about whatever shift or transition you're trying to make in life is, have I stopped learning? If you've stopped learning, that's a great idea to move, but know that a purpose can be found inside a company or outside. It's not about the external, it's about you as an individual.
All right, let's say that you're confident you've stopped learning. How does someone then figure out how to quiet the self-doubt when making a life-changing decision? Because you're scary. You're changing the people you're around, your livelihood. You're probably going against some people's wishes.
The way to do this is to not see it or make a big leap. The truth is that any of our changes in life are an amalgamation of small incremental changes rather than one big change. That way you can manage the doubt that comes with the small step rather than the fear that comes with that big leap.
All right, so you've got a game plan. You mentioned you have to move towards your purpose. It's got to be your guide. But what if you're purposeless? And there are people out there who just have had trouble wrestling down what they want to be. So how do you go from purposelessness to purposeful?
So my way of defining purpose is when you use your strengths and skills in the service of others. When you use your passion to improve and positively impact the lives of others. So the first step is to discover what brings you joy, to discover what skills you have, to discover what strengths you have, to also discover what you care about, and then ask yourself, how can I use this to improve the lives of others?
This wisdom you're sharing with us, and it's on your #1 health and wellness podcast. It's called, On Purpose, what we're talking about. It's blown up. Everyone should know it. You got over 300 million downloads and views since February of 2019 when this crazy pandemic started. Pretty sage time to release it. Many of the guests on the podcast are successful in their own right. And that's something, I think something that you seem to tease out from each of them that you've noticed that they all have in common that contributes to their success. If you had to summarize that for our audience, what would you say?
So we've been really fortunate to sit down with some incredible people on the podcast. And what I find about them is that there's lots of differences. They have different intentions, different reasons, different backgrounds. They grew up in different parts of the world. But the thing that they have in common, Dr. Oz, as you asked, is actually failure. Failure has been a huge part of each and every single one of their journeys. They've all failed personally or professionally, but they all found a way to continue through that failure, to continue with their journey. And I think that's the biggest thing that I find in common sitting down with any of the successful people personally and professionally.
How about you personally? How do you stay focused on your purpose while juggling the many demands of life, figuring out the failures of your guests, all the other crazy demands of your schedule?
One piece of advice that's really helped me navigate a hectic day when there's just too many meetings, there's dysfunctional processes and systems, is I try to schedule as much as I can or take 5 minutes between meetings to hydrate, to stretch, and to remember my purpose. Yeah. So what I recommend to everyone, most people who are working at home now, or even if you're back in an office, is to schedule your meetings 5 minutes apart. If your meeting finishes at 10:30, start the next one at 10:35. If your meeting finishes at 1, start the next one at 1:05. In those 5 minutes, you don't look at your phone, you don't look at your email, you give yourself an opportunity to stand up, to walk, to hydrate, to stretch, and to remind yourself of your purpose. That 5-minute gap will save you walking into the next meeting with all the baggage from the last one.
Perspective is vital. All right, coming up, Jay's getting personal. He's going to reveal his big secret to a fresh start to your day and your health. We're back talking about managing stress and anxiety with Jay Shetty. He's all of his things turned viral. He's a life and purpose coach. His wife and plant-based chef Roddy joins us now. I have never met you before, Roddy, but I got to say, looking at the two of you, your children are going to have beautiful eyes. It's mesmerizing.
Oh, it's so lovely to meet you.
So, Roddy, you say your favorite way to start the day and ward off stress and anxiety is by having a cup of tea. So walk us through the impact of a cup of tea on someone's day.
Absolutely. I really think it's the physical process of just steeping a cup of tea, from boiling the kettle to pouring it to even drinking it. There's no way that you can speed up that process. And so what I love about it is that it just slows you down. It helps you collect your thoughts and just become more present in your moment, and hopefully take that through the rest of your day.
It's part of so many cultures. Jay, Roddy, you both argued that you love teas with a purpose, like teas made with adaptogens, which are edible plant extracts that allow our cells to live longer. Some experts, I should point out to the audience, they strongly believe that the body builds up resilience to stress and its negative effects, like low energy and digestive issues and poor quality sleep, if you have these adaptogens, which humans have used for known history. So let me show everybody why teas may boost your mood. And adaptogens are part of it, but the aromas themselves have an impact as well. This is your brain. Don't play this yet. These little lines coming down, that's the top of your nose. That's the olfactory gland. That's where the brain senses smells. That's why when you taste things, your mouth's down here, and you smell things, they sort of go together. Now, when you have a nice cup of tea, the smells come up through your nose, up in here, they turn on the olfactory gland. The odor hits the receptors in the brain, and then once the brain's turned on, it releases neurotransmitters, these green balls that attach on to different parts of the brain that can actually affect your mood. And you start to smile and you start to react differently. And so it's not just the ritual, it's not just the smell, it's a lot of things put together that has allowed cultures where people want to feel like this woman smiling to take that big step. So, Roddy, I want to say I'm proud of you because the two of you recently started a tea line that's packed full of adaptogens. How did the idea come about?
Well, to be honest, we really wanted to create teas that don't just taste good. We wanted them to impact people's life, whether it's mind, body, or even spirit. And so adaptogens came in because we really wanted people to feel functional benefits, whether it is to do with sleep or focus or attention during the day. I think we all have something that comes up like that during the day. And so we really wanted it to be something that they can incorporate that brings that and impacts their life in a positive way.
Well, I just tasted your peach, which has a real purpose because it tastes good. Is that?
Yes, good. The peach and I think you're having the peach green tea. And that's our protect and support. It is got jasmine in it and it smells incredible. It literally fills the room every time I drink it. This one, the adaptogen is actually shatavari. Now, shatavari is an Ayurvedic adaptogen and it balances the blood sugar levels, your hormones. It's also an antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and it supports tissue repair and nourishes the reproductive organs. So it really does support and nourish your tissues.
Well, you've got, I have 4 here. One's better than the next. I've got to say, I love this mint blueberry, which if you want to learn more about it, you got to check out Jane Roddy's teas by going to salmatea.com. I want to congratulate you for acting on what you believe is the case, making something that, once again, will push us in the right direction.
Thank you so much, Dr. Rose.
much.
We're so grateful that we got to share Salma with you, and we can't wait to share Salma with everyone else.
Yes.
Well, I like sharing lots of things with you, insights, teas, anything else you're up for. All right. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss out on new videos to live the good life.